Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to a very silly video. This is my top 10 favourite David Cronenberg character names from his films. This is a video that makes no sense, but I would like to see your 10 favourite David Cronenberg names from his films. Now, some of his names are a bit strange and a bit silly, but in some way perfectly encapsulate the character. Not really, they're just a bit daft, but when you're Cronenberg, maybe it all makes sense, and I'm just not intelligent enough to understand that, which I'm happy to admit. So again, this is my favourite 10 in order. I've spent hours, days, weeks, possibly minutes assembling this list. So I'm going to do 10 to 1. Some films by Cronenberg don't even feature, and some feature multiple times. And again, you can play along at home. So for my first, or name number 10 of Cronenberg character names in his films, comes from his debut, Shivers, or They Came From Within, or The Parasite Murders. Here's a lovely Arrow Steelbook on Blu-ray. This isn't a major character. Oh, look at that. But Joe Silver's character of Rollo Linsky, for some reason I just really like the name Rollo Linsky. Again, there's no rational reason for any of these choices. So we'll go to Videodrome. Now Videodrome has quite a few wonderful Cronenbergian names, but at number 9 I'm going to go with Bianca Oblivion, daughter of Brian Oblivion, but I just prefer Bianca to Brian. So at number 9, it's Bianca Oblivion. I know that's a controversial choice. Some people might prefer Brian Oblivion. Then I'm going to go to one of his modern films, and this is Maps to the Stars, which I think is kind of underrated and does get better the more times you watch it. And I'm going to go with Julianne Moore's character, which is Havana Sagrand, or Sagrand. I think that just sounds rather nice, unlike the character herself. So that's Havana Sagrand. Then we're going to go to The Brood, or his divorce movie. There's quite a few in here that I could use, but at number 7 it's Samantha Eggar's character, which is Nola Carveth, which kind of just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Nola Carveth. Now, just for complete ridiculousness, we're going to go back to one of his short films, Crimes of the Future, the 1970 version. A character played by Ronald Mlodzik, who was also in Stereo, and it is simply Adrian Tripod. Again, I'm not making these names up. David Cronenberg, the genius, made these names up. Adrian Tripod, in at number 6. Now number 5 is from one of his films that perhaps didn't get the credit when it came out, because strangely enough it was ahead of its time, just like every Cronenberg film that comes out. But the more you watch it, I think the better it gets and the more salient it gets. It's Existenz, and this just gives me an excuse to show the recent Vinegar Syndrome 4K release. So again, there's quite a few ways I could have went with Existenz. Spoiler alert, I'm not including Willem Dafoe's character, who works in a gas station and is called Gas. But I'm going to go with Jennifer Jason Leigh's inventor and creator of the video game featured, and that is Allegra Geller. Allegra is just not a name that you hear that much anymore, but Allegra Geller sounds like a video game designer. Now, number 4 is a classic. You're not going to have a top 10 list of David Cronenberg character names without going to Scanners and Michael Ironside's character Darryl Revok. That just doesn't sound like a name for the antagonist in Scanners. Darryl Revok. Now back to Existenz, but I'm perhaps not going where you might think. I'm actually going to go to the character played by Don McKellar, who it was great to see him back in the 2022 version of Crimes of the Future, or edition of Crimes of the Future. So this is Yevgeny Nurish. Again, I'm not making this up. Yevgeny Nurish is number 3. That's an Existenz. We're going to The Fly for number 2, and again there's a couple that could have got in here, but I'm going to go with John Getsy's character, shockingly. This is Stathis Borans. Stathis. I mean, who calls their children Stathis nowadays? I know it was popular in the 50s and 60s to call their kids Stathis. But Stathis Borans, of course. You could have went with Gina Davis's Veronica Quaife. And obviously Seth Brundle, but Seth Brundle's a normal name by Cronenberg standards. But you could have went with Veronica Quaife. But I've decided to go with Stathis Borans, because it really sums him up. You know, he is a complete arsehole for 95% of the film, and then he's somehow almost helpful in the last 5%. So now we come to the number 1 of my favourite Cronenberg character names. Now this seems a bit of an odd choice, but for some reason I've always loved this name. It's got a perfectly normal first name, and I suppose in the realm of science, I guess, a perfectly reasonable second name. But together there's just something wonderful. We're back to Videodrome, and it's Barry Convex. Again, not as outlandish as Yevgeny Nurish or Adrian Tripod, but there's always been something I just love about Barry Convex. I don't know why, but it's just, I've always loved Barry Convex as a character name. So there you go, a completely stupid video, but please let me know what some of your favourite Cronenberg character names are. And again, there's plenty of other ones. Saul Tenser, as I said, Veronica Quaife, obviously Brian Oblivion, Whippet, another Don McKellar, Gas, as I said, Willem Dafoe's, so many, obviously Raglan from The Brood as well, but that's my top 10. So thanks very much for watching. I do apologise for the silliness, but that was just the mood I was in. and hopefully you'll join me again for far more sensible videos. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films saying farewell.